Good evening, one and all. Welcome to a very special edition of TSSZ Plus as we count down just minutes away from the launch of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate right here on TSSZ Plus. I'm Lou Balzani. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Apologies for my suit and tie appearance right now. I literally just got home, walking the door right now from my company's holiday party, so you'll have to excuse the suit and tie. But we dress up fancy for you guys. It's all okay. Whatever we can do for you. We are joined right now by our editor-in-chief of TSSZnews.com, Tristan Oliver. Tristan, please say hello to the people.
Hi, everybody. And Lou, actually, as we come on to the air, we have some breaking news. And that breaking news is that Joker from Persona 5 has just been announced as the first paid DLC character for Smash Ultimate. It just happened at the Game Awards presentation, which is still happening right now. In Los Angeles. Joker from Atlus's Persona 5 will be the first paid DLC character in Smash Ultimate. The internet is breaking over this, and you'll have to excuse me. I mean, admittedly, I don't keep up as much with Persona, even though it is a Sega franchise, as much as I'd like, but there are a lot of Atlus fans, a lot of Sega fans that are really hyped at this news that Joker, one of the main characters in the Persona 5 series, is going to be coming to Smash Ultimate, which means we now know one of the paid characters coming to this franchise. If you remember, at least 5 characters were going to be coming after the launch, and we now know one of them, which is really incredible that we're already kind of learning this. I'm just kind of looking at the we're just looking at some of the trailer stuff now, and this is one of the reveals happening at the Game Awards. Insane that even up to now, with about 23 or so minutes left to Smash Ultimate, we're still getting significant reveals like this, and I don't think anybody saw this coming, frankly.
That is absolutely true, and we are, as you said, just a little over 20 minutes away from the launch of another game in what is perhaps one of the most storied franchises in video game history, Super Smash Bros. Fabled memories across multiple generations of people who have treasured this franchise, who have taken it to new heights in the competitive esports scene. Super Smash Bros. Means a lot to millions of gamers the world over, and we are on the brink of getting a new version of the game on our Nintendo Switches.
And actually right now in New York at the Nintendo New York store, if you're familiar with that area in Midtown Manhattan, the line for the midnight launch of Smash Ultimate is basically around the block onto the Avenue of the Americas. And if you know how that grid works in New York, you have literally hundreds of people standing in line in the cold. It is a very chilly night here in the Northeast to get their hands on this game. I don't think they have anybody special at that store either, because Reggie Fils-Aimé is in Los Angeles for the award ceremony. So this is an event. This is something that we've waited 4 years for, basically, a new Smash. I remember when it came out, the last one came out in 2014. And that was a big deal because it was coming to the Wii U and the 3DS, and now we have, between the portability of the Nintendo Switch, between the huge roster of characters, which even still for some people is not enough. Team Waluigi, Team Shadow, Team literally, you could go on and on, but there's always DLC, and we've seen that tonight. So it's really exciting. It looks like from the reviews that came out, the review embargo was lifted at about 8 o'clock this morning, that this is going to be not just a top-tier Smash title, but a top-tier fighter, period. The Metacritic scores, at last check, I think were in the low to mid-90s, which is incredible for something admittedly this specialized. I mean, Smash is in its own genre, platform fighter. It basically invented the genre, and for the most part has it to itself. So between the roster of characters, hashtag everyone is here, hashtag everyone is dead.
Everyone is dead.
Everyone is dead, Lou, and you know, I think what's really going to make a lot of people relieved is that you don't have to go into the single player mode to unlock everybody. I was reading the Kotaku review earlier today, and they noted that even if you lose against some of the matches where you unlock the characters in classic mode, which is still an option to unlock, by the way, you don't have to go through World of Light. There's apparently a mode deep buried into the game's menus, which I think is called Challenger's Approach, where basically if you lose against somebody, you can actually go back and re-challenge them directly. You don't have to go through the classic mode again. So they're making it really, really easy to unlock all of these characters, some 70 plus. And you know, I think that's a really smart thing on Sakurai and the team's part. It's you know, they really want to make this game accessible for not only the more advanced fighters, those who regularly compete in Smash, but also the newcomers, the novices. I'm not going to tell you that I'm all that good at Smash, at least not compared to, you know, those who I see play competitively, or even those who, even my own friends who, you know, really play it religiously. But I still play, and I still have a lot of fun with it. And I think for most, you know, casual players, I think that's going to be the most important thing out of this.
Absolutely. Smash is really unique in that sense, I think, because it has such a dedicated following on both sides. You have the very casual people who just play their favorite character, who just sort of jump into the game because they're familiar with some of the franchises that are involved, and then they go to town. And then you have some of the completely dedicated, hardcore competitive fans who take this game on the road, who take it to huge tournaments like EVO, and make a spectacle out of it, and voted and make a spectacle out of it. So the game has an incredibly wide reach, and has for many, many years, going all the way back to the days of Melee and Smash 64. And the thought is that that legacy is going to continue with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Smash, on the Switch. And I'm wondering, it's been a long day, folks, you know what?
Yeah, for both of us, yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on how well Ultimate may continue the legacy of Smash, given its very wide reach as an entertainment product and its beloved nature in the competitive scene.
Well, as I noted on the final earlier in the hour, you know, I believe, first of all, I believe this will not be the last entry in the series. I think there's too much money wrapped up in it. There's too much hype in just the folklore and the aura of Smash. Think about, you know, how many months that has passed since the announcement in, I want to say March, early March, up to now here in early December. It's been a whirlwind of time. So I don't think Nintendo can lose that sort of positive PR in that sense. In terms of, you know, where it stands in its place in Smash history, all signs point to this being the pinnacle so far, and really there's nowhere to go, I think, but up. And I say that, you know, not disparagingly. We still have a lot of DLC left to be announced. If having Joker was not your cup of tea, that announcement literally just minutes ago. And then, you know, this is going to be a game that really, I think, reins it in. People had, you know, problems with some of the mechanics of Brawl. People had some problems with the mechanics of the Wii U and 3DS version. This feels, I think, more a closer, you know, return to form that a lot of folks from my generation remember from Melee. I grew up on Melee. When we were kids and teenagers, that was the only thing we played throughout the summer for months and months, and I would even say years and years on end. It had that lasting power, and that's what I think Ultimate is going for, is the lasting power, to really cement itself and to change the landscape of esports. We talk a lot about, you know, the competitive nature of Smash in esports, but the fact of the matter is, compared to a title like Tekken 7 or Street Fighter or even the big boys like Overwatch and League of Legends. I mean, Smash is still a relatively grassroots effort in competitive esports. This is the game I think is going to help turn the corner.
That's very interesting analysis there. And what I think is going to be great about Ultimate, as we sort of come up on the launch here with just about 14 minutes left to go, is the hope that Ultimate sort of steps up and fills in the gap where Brawl and Smash Wii U sort of fell short. So as you sort of look at the legacy of Smash in an esports capacity, Melee remains king and has for many, many years. Brawl absolutely did not hook on like I'm sure many people had hoped, to the point where people modified Brawl's mechanics to feel more like Melee. Smash Wii U, while a great game in its own right, still did not receive the same sort of hype in the competitive sector that Melee did, certainly back on the GameCube all those years ago. So I'm sure that the hope is with Ultimate that everything falls into place such that Melee, at minimum, gets a run for its money, and perhaps in the long term sees a genuine successor in terms of what can be done in the competitive scene with a successful Smash game going forward. I'm sure Nintendo is aware of how much is riding on this title. It is one of the biggest launches, I think, to be honest, Nintendo's had in quite some time.
Absolutely. Many, many years. I would probably since the last Smash, I would say. And that's important. Nintendo knows that a lot is riding on this. Nintendo knows, I think, that a lot of the future success of the Switch is riding on this. I think it believes to an extent a lot of the success of its online program is riding on this. I think they are well aware that this is not something to mess around with. And, I think for the most part they have come through with flying colors on this. And I know people will say, wow, Waluigi, where's Waluigi, or where's Shadow? And, I think those are valid concerns to an extent. I personally think there is absolutely no excuse that somebody like Shadow could not be an Echo Fighter in this game. I think if there is one flaw in Smash Ultimate, it's probably the underutilization, I think, of the Echo Fighter mechanic. I think when that was announced, I think a lot of people had a lot of crazy hopes and dreams that this roster was going to balloon out of control with Echo Fighters. And, I can understand why, but you have like almost 6 dozen fighters available to you. If you cannot find someone to main in Smash, I think it's your problem and not Sakurai's. I mean,
100%.
So,
absolutely.
And like for somebody like me, like I can still play as Sonic, who I'm pretty decent as a fighter. I can still play as Sheik, what I'm pretty okay at, and I'm still kind of like from that Melee era where the roster was not quite as insane, and I have a familiarity with some of the classic characters like Kirby and Dr. Mario and Donkey Kong, and I'm actually kind of excited to play as Bayonetta, because I never got that chance to play as Bayonetta on Smash 4. I never really stuck around long enough for her as DLC. So I hear that Bayonetta may still be broken as a character, and I'm really looking forward to find out if that's true or not.
And you will get your chance in just about 10 minutes' time when Smash Ultimate launches on the East Coast. And again, thank you for tuning in to TSSZ Plus here tonight as we count down to the launch of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch. We appreciate you spending some time this evening to catch up on the game with us. We are really on the precipice of history in a lot of ways, and we say that a lot when we do these kinds of streams, because we only do these kinds of streams for really monumental launches that matter a lot, not just to the Sonic community, but to the gaming community at large. We've seen launches like this for Sonic Mania, for Sonic Forces, where the games really have an impact on our community specifically. And now we stand here on the precipice of the launch of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, one of the cornerstones, if we're being honest, of gaming as a whole, where so many franchises, not just Nintendo's, come together to not just celebrate their legacies and celebrate gaming, but to create what often ends up being one of the best games of its generation when a Smash game launches, and it's incredibly exciting to see. So as we sort of stand on that precipice with about 9 minutes left to go, T, who are you maining? This is an important question.
I said earlier on the final tonight, it's probably going to be either Sheik, who I have played for years and years and years, and I know Sheik's mechanics very well. A very fast character. It's a really nice counter to sort of the heavy, lumbering, really powerful characters like Donkey Kong, like King K. Rool, like Ridley, probably. Sonic is probably my second go-to. And I kind of want to give Incineroar a try. I've heard good things about Incineroar as a character, and so it's going to be, and particularly with Joker coming now from Persona 5 as a DLC, that might get me onto the DLC program, frankly. So I think Sheik, Sonic, and probably a little bit of Incineroar, and like I said, maybe a little bit of Bayonetta. Ice Climbers, I think, is maybe a dark horse candidate for me too, because I remember really liking the Ice Climbers and the dynamic of sort of that 1.5 player mode, not unlike Sonic 2. Funny enough. So Sheik, Sonic. How about you, Lou? How do you think you're going to stack up?
I will be honest. So I am absolutely terrible at Smash. The only fighting game I'm good at, and I've ever been good at, is ARMS, and it is like a tangential fighting game at best. It is not Tekken, it is not Street Fighter, it is not Smash. This is not my forte, for sure. That said, I have been loyal to Game & Watch for many years, and Mr. Game & Watch, I'm sure, will carry me through Ultimate to completely average and middling results. So I'm excited to be no better than average with Mr. Game & Watch. That said, I'll admit I haven't done my research. Is Greninja back in this one?
Yeah. Everyone is here.
Everyone is here. That's right. I've had some success with Greninja in the past, and he's one of my go-tos. So Game & Watch, Greninja will be on my plate, as well as, honestly, that's probably the main two if we're being succinct about it. So,
but I do want to touch on something you talked about, which is, this is living history. Smash is, and you kind of started seeing that with the last Smash, that it's sort of an all-encompassing bit of more the Nintendo side of history, especially when you consider there's something like 800, 900 songs in this game from all of the different franchises. I think the Kotaku review kind of compared it to like having like a video game themed iPod if you take the Switch on the go with you.
Who out there remembers iPods? We're just gonna take a second.
Yes.
That's not something you can take for granted anymore. iPods are kind of a thing of the past,
Yeah, that's my generation.
We're getting old. I love my iPods. I had multiple iPods. It was a great time.
Well, congrats, Lou. Keep it. You'll have some money in your pocket someday for that.
Oh, that's upsetting.
But between you have the music, you have the spirits. There are something like 1,300 spirits in this game from all different franchises that are represented, including Sonic. There are, at least by my count from doing some research on this, about 1 to 2 dozen Sonic characters represented in the spirits. I know there's going to be some debate on whether these spirits are sort of glorified stickers, why did the trophies leave, etc. But this is a game that, I think is really going to encapsulate, a really high point for video games and for video game history and for Nintendo's history as well.
And we see that as this video is rolling to the right of me here. 74 fighters to start, according to this trailer video. Dozens of assists, trophies, and Echo Fighters, and all of this ridiculous stuff. Really gunning to make this the most robust Smash game that's ever been launched by a wide margin. A lot of your favorites are back, plus a ton of new content to really make this feel like a genuinely new and in-your-face Smash experience, the likes of which we haven't seen in quite a long time. You see right now 55 Pokemon. You see the Squid Sisters, from Splatoon there on the screen. 59 assist trophies, a massive game in terms of overall content. If you're looking for your money's worth this holiday season, this may well be the best bang for your buck you're going to see years from now, potentially.
Oh yeah, this is going to get some mileage. And it looks like this time, whereas in the past, Nintendo has sort of, they've acknowledged that competitive gaming exists with Smash. I think this time, and we've seen it, we saw it at E3, as you said, we saw it at EVO. I think Nintendo's really going to embrace the competitive part of this, because they realize this is how this game is going to get its legs moving forward in the competitive esports scene. I think they're going to really embrace it. I think they're going to really support it. Hopefully, not just with their own tournaments, but by sponsoring the big dog tournaments as well. And, that's going to be really exciting. You see this a lot with Namco, with Tekken 7, where Namco makes a lot of announcements for DLC at these major events. And I suspect Nintendo is probably planning the same, much like with tonight. Again, if you're just joining us, Joker from Persona 5 is the first confirmed DLC character for Smash Ultimate, a Sega franchise character, an Atlas franchise character. Nobody saw coming, frankly. We had no guidance on this, so a lot of huge surprises already with Smash. I will say, I'm a little bummed that there's no home run contest. It looks like they have taken home run contest out, and I don't think they're adding it back.
One of the greatest thrills you can have in gaming is beating that damn sandbag for all it's worth and launching it hundreds of yards.
Reliever.
Absolutely. That's 100% true. Now, as we sort of come up on the launch of this game, again, if you're just joining us, we are a little over 2 minutes away from the launch of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the East Coast of the United States. Again, thank you for tuning in tonight if you are just joining us here on TSSZ Plus, a monumental event just a couple of minutes away here as we come up on the launch of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch. I don't think it's an understatement to say that this is one of Nintendo's most important launches in quite some time. The Nintendo Switch, obviously, is one of Nintendo's biggest consoles in a very long time. Certainly we haven't seen this sort of success in the general marketplace since the Wii, with the Wii U sort of falling flat and most of the software titles along with it. Nintendo, I think, has been under a lot of pressure to sort of step things up again. And with the runaway success of the Switch and all of its relevant software titles, we're going to see a big resurgence of those classic franchises, as we already have with the likes of things like Super Mario Odyssey, porting things like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and Mario Kart 8 to the Switch, and now we have a de facto Super Smash Bros. Title on what is one of Nintendo's most successful consoles in recent memory. It is absolutely, with 1 minute to go here, a very, very exciting time to be with gaming.
Absolutely, and let's feel for those guys standing in line at Nintendo New York right now.
It is frigid. It's got to be under 30 degrees. Not a pleasant place to be.
And yeah, those are. I don't want to say those are the real heroes of the night, but they're pretty damn close.
They are absolutely close.
Because they've been out there for hours.
By our time, stream lags a little bit. You have about 35 seconds left to go before the game has launched on the East Coast. I hope you guys are ready. This is, of course, we don't go live for just any old game launch, and this is absolutely one of the biggest that you're going to see this generation with the launch of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, just seconds away on the East Coast as we run our mouths and get ready for this launch in just about 15 seconds.
Yeah. We don't have a fancy countdown, unfortunately, but we can do that. We can count along with us.
We can do that now. We're at about 8 seconds now. If you are ready, if you have your download code ready.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy Smash Day, everybody! It is midnight here in the East Coast. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is live here.
Oh my goodness!
And it is happening right now. Welcome to the new age. It is happening.
The internet is breaking, Lou. I can't imagine. I hope you preloaded because
I'm screwed. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I got a full day of work ahead of me tomorrow, so it's going to be a while before I dig my teeth into this game.
Admittedly, same. So some of
don't get old, kids. This is what happens. You got to have like real person jobs, and you got to be responsible for stuff, and you can't just pop on and play the game like you used to. This is a fact of life.
But look, our weekends, like, nobody bother us on the weekends.
Absolutely.
There's a reason the final went up on Thursday night this week.
I'll tell you this. Last weekend, so I'm, as regular viewers of TSSZ Plus know, I'm on call pretty regularly for my job. I worked a total of 25 hours last weekend between Saturday and Sunday, between a very, very high-stakes outage that we had overseas. And the hope is that everyone leaves me the hell alone this weekend so I can dig into Smash a little bit. It's very exciting. So again, we are 1 minute past the hour. Thank you for tuning in tonight to TSSZ Plus. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is available right now on the East Coast. If you have it preloaded, go play it now. If you're at GameStop watching this for some reason, get off your phone, go buy the game. What the hell are you doing? Priorities here, folks.
I'm curious, because there were a lot of GameStops and a lot of Best Buy retailers that I think stayed open until midnight tonight. We've that was a point, because so it's not just at the flagship store in Rockefeller Plaza. I mean, there are potentially thousands of fans across this country that are braving any amount of night weather tonight to buy this game physically. So props to you if you are out there. I'm hoping that you're back out of the elements at this point, because not only do I not think there's any real reason you should be out there unless you're at the flagship store, but there is something exciting, I will say, about kind of that feel of being there for a midnight launch, because you see it for a lot of the big titles like your Call of Duties and things like that now, but I think Smash is a very different experience. It's a very different community. It's, I think, a much more supportive community. It's a lot more, you talk a lot and see a lot about, how vitriolic the internet can get, when you're behind a screen name and it's just your voice. And you don't see any of that in Smash. I've not seen any of it. It's a good community. It has always been a good community of players, competitively, casually, and otherwise. And I think that's what really helps too. The people who play this, the people who frankly have supported Melee for as long as they have, and keep those old GameCube controllers in such pristine shape as they have. Which reminds me, Lou, I got to get one of those GameCube controllers.
Yes.
They have those. They have those out now. I have to pick up one. But this community is, I think, as much a reason, and I'm talking about the Smash community, is as much a reason as how this franchise has become so popular and so ingrained in gaming culture as the game itself, because it has such a fantastic support system, I would say.
Absolutely. And in talking to, if you frequent the site with for any length of time, you would know that around the time of Smash 4 I did a couple of interviews with a couple of my friends in the competitive scene of Smash, and they kind of gave us the lowdown of what Smash for Wii U was looking like in terms of the people that live and breathe this game. I've touched base with them briefly in the run-up to Ultimate, and there has been a fervor and hype for this game that is rare among the gaming community. Where I think we're really fortunate in that this year seems to be the launch of a ton of really impressive games that communities get behind 100%. We've seen things like God of War, we've seen things like Red Dead Redemption 2 that have just blown the doors off of sales figures, and everyone's been going nuts. And now Smash, here in the waning days of the year, is about to potentially take the crown for that, because the hype and the level of excitement that I've seen from both the competitive and casual scenes for Smash Bros. Ultimate has been off the charts. And again, that's sort of a testament to the longevity of the franchise, the longevity of how many characters have been kind of integrated into this series over time, the longevity of Smash in its long history, it's a testament to how well the Switch has done in its handful of years on the market relative to things like the Xbox One and the PS4. It's a very special time for Nintendo, a very special time for gamers as a whole, and it's going to be very exciting to see it develop over the days and weeks ahead as people get their hands on it and really start to experience the game for what it is.
And not even just days, hours. This is going to develop very, very fast, and I think
Absolutely.
we're going to know really quickly just how successful Smash is going to be. Just really quick, because I'm perusing Twitter just to kind of get some perspectives. Donnie, who is monitoring things from his post, I wish he could have been here tonight, but he is still recovering from 22 hours of streaming last week. Which is
and can we take just a moment to appreciate what an incredible job Donnie did?
Yes, but he is actually reporting that at least when it came to Best Buy, some of the retailers did let some of the folks who were waiting in line in early, but then they were not allowed to leave the store until 12:01. So they probably got in like quarter of, and then they just kind of hung out the store for about 15 minutes. I'm just trying to kind of see what the scene is right now at the Nintendo New York store, and it looks like we're not getting anything from Nintendo New York, it looks like. But, all right, so it looks like they did let some folks into, I guess that's the Nintendo New York store, but they didn't sell it, and so there was a crowd who actually watched the Joker reveal, and they were just as shocked as anybody else. So I think that line is hopefully moving pretty swiftly in New York as they kind of start selling those copies of Smash. I hope by the time I get to New York, which will be a couple hours from now, I hope that line has thinned out.
I hope so too.
Because, for those who don't know, I work super early. This is actually the beginning of my day right now. And so I commute to New York City. And so I work pretty close to that area. And so I can kind of get a feel for, when there's a really huge event, you'll see people lined up around that area pretty early in the morning. And I just hope that, I hope they're gone by the time. I'm glad that they, have come out for support. But please go home and play this game. Please do not stand out in the 30-degree weather.
As sort of a side note, as regular viewers of TSSZ Plus probably know, I live about an hour and a half north of New York City in the mid-Hudson Valley in New York State. And speaking from personal perspective, because I spend a lot of time in the city, I do not envy your quest at all. Good luck. Hopefully the crowds thin out and it works out well for you.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to TSSZ Plus here tonight. We are a little bit about coming up on 9 minutes past the hour, as Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is currently available on the East Coast. Here on TSSZ Plus, we are just kind of shooting the breeze with you all, as I hope you are getting ready to experience the game for yourselves. This is, without understatement, a historical moment for gaming, as yet another entry in the Super Smash Bros. Series is unleashed upon the masses. We are no doubt going to be flooded with interpretations and analysis of the game in the hours and days to come, and it's going to be very exciting to keep up with. There's really nothing like a Smash launch, if we're being honest with ourselves.
Especially this one. Again, if you're just joining us, the big bulletin on top of the launch, Joker from Persona 5 will be the first paid DLC character in Smash Ultimate. Joker and Persona 5, by the way, right now, worldwide trending topics on Twitter. That didn't take long, along with Smash, by the way. So you've got a triple threat of trending topics right now on Twitter. That's how huge this launch is, on a night where you had God of War win Game of Year at the Game Awards, a night where you had Mortal Kombat 11 be announced at the Game Awards, amongst other things. This is legit. Absolutely. And I cannot wait to play this at all. So, it's goodness. It almost feels... it feels like, and we're coming up on Christmas, but it feels like an early Christmas morning as a kid, almost. It feels like, you know, you're a kid again. And I think any game that can make you feel that way is really special. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, is probably, it wasn't that long where I feel we kind of last felt that. I think for us in the Sonic community, it was when Mania came out. That's how a lot of Nintendo fans and a lot of Smash fans are feeling right now, I would say.
Absolutely, and just to kind of put a personal spin on that, it's going to feel a lot like that. When we received our review copy of Mania, I tore through it maybe a few days before the final retail release was available, and it felt exactly that way. You remember when you first put Sonic 3 into your Genesis, and you just explored this brand new world for the first time. Everything was new, everything was fresh. You're discovering things. You felt like you were the first person in the world to see it. And it was a magical thing. That was exactly how Sonic Mania was at the time. And I think for a lot of people, that's how Smash Ultimate is going to feel. A lot of people have been avoiding spoilers, have been avoiding news, so a lot of this game is going to be brand new to them. They get into the adventure mode, they get into start unlocking the several dozens of characters that are available, you know, over 6 dozen characters in Smash Ultimate at launch. It's going to feel, in a lot of ways, like you said, like Christmas morning for gamers the world over, millions upon millions of people who have dedicated attachments to a lot of these sacred franchises, frankly. And it's going to be a great time as people sort of unravel this game for themselves.
Let's play theoreticals for a second. I didn't know this. Melee sold over 7 million copies all time. Do we think Ultimate eclipses that?
7 million? I think with the current sale rate of the Switch, long term, that's not out of the realm of possibility. You know, you've seen games like Super Mario Odyssey take off in terms of the install base of the Switch and how many people latch onto it. Things like Breath of the Wild have sold like wildfire, well over 7 million copies if I remember correctly. And those Dynamite system sellers are almost, in the early days, a 1-to-1 attach rate to the console, right? Almost everyone who's bought this console has this game. Smash Ultimate feels like that sort of game in a lot of ways, and I would not be surprised, because there are, you know, tens of millions of Switches in the world. I wouldn't be surprised if tens of millions of those independently have a copy of Smash Bros. Ultimate.
And just for reference, the top-selling pieces of Switch software, Super Mario Odyssey is at the top with 12.1 million, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is a remake, frankly, of Mario Kart 8, 11.7 million, Breath of the Wild more than 10 million, and then Splatoon 2 with 7.4. So, I mean, this thing should, I mean, Smash Ultimate should at least propel itself into the top 10 by the end of the month, if not the end of next week.
I would be shocked. I would be shocked if this game is not one of the best-selling titles on the console all time. You know, the numbers you just listed out, you look at something like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is frankly just an enhanced port of something, you know, we've had on the Wii U for some time, and that's not to knock it at all, because, to be fair, Mario Kart 8 is one of my favorite video games ever. I have spent way too much time with it, both in the original form and Deluxe. But that said, if an enhanced port can sell over 10 million copies on the Switch, which is, again, a thriving platform for both hardware and software, Smash Ultimate should have no problem.
Absolutely not, especially with all of the hype this game is. I remember when we saw this, we really first saw Ultimate in action in E3 when Nintendo hosted the tournament at E3, and we carried that live here on TSSZ Plus. So I was anchoring that coverage, and it was the final 3 matches was just all Mario versus Sonic, and just watching both of them go at it, you know, in a competitive setting, just felt like easily a top 5 E3 moment for me, just as an onlooker and as, you know, somebody who's, you know, covered this types of stuff now for as long as I have. And it's going to just be, I never really got that feeling with Smash 4. Smash 4 was like, yeah, I kind of bought it because I had the Wii U, I had friends who were playing Smash, and, you know, I wanted to, you know, I still kind of had the time to dedicate to it. This is one where I'm going to have to dedicate the time to it, and I want to dedicate the time to it. And that's going to start later today, I should say. As it will for you too, Lou. I mean, as you said, we all have our adulting to do, I guess.
Oh, like I said, folks, do not get old. Do not grow up. That gets in the way of playing games like this.
Or get old, but have a really high-paying job and retire early.
That's the goal. And you know what? Everyone will get there someday, maybe.
I hope so.
If you give it a shot. 16 minutes past the hour now. Again, thank you all for tuning in to TSSZ Plus as Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is available now on the East Coast for your Nintendo Switch. Nothing short of a monumental night here, as the latest entry in the Super Smash Bros. Franchise is now available on one of Nintendo's most successful consoles, at least in terms of mainstream reach. I think we're gonna start winding down the stream at this point. So, as we sort of leave you on, as we've said so many times, the precipice of history with an amazing launch for an amazing game that is sure to sell like absolute hotcakes. T, any final thoughts as we prepare to take our leave?
Well, I mean, it's been a hell of a ride from the announcement back in March, which was met with insane reaction all around the world. When, that first trailer dropped with the characters from Splatoon and the Smash icon, in their eyes. From that to the E3 announcements, to the tournament, to the anticipation of who's in and who's out, and maybe now who's still to come. I would not lose hope if you're Team Waluigi. I think there's been enough of an outcry where I think they have to consider it now. And I know that kind of breaks protocol for Smash, but this is truly a labor of love. And all of the reviews have indicated that. All of the fan reactions so far from those who have played it in Europe, where it has been available now for the past few hours now, has indicated that. And now it's it's the Nintendo fans' turn to really show, the support that this franchise has. I mean, this is basically Sonic Mania for the Nintendo community and the Smash community, and I have no doubt this is going to be supported and hopefully will be the pinnacle of Smash for years to come. Lou, what about you?
You summed it up very well. So I think what is important to note as we kind of get into the waning hours or the waning minutes of the stream here is that it is exactly as huge as you think it is. The launch of something like Smash that is built almost to celebrate gaming as a whole, not just to celebrate at this point Nintendo's storied franchises, but to celebrate gaming as a whole with franchises like Mega Man, with franchises like Pac-Man. It cannot be understated how monumental a launch like this is. With so much hype surrounding this, with so much good-natured back and forth surrounding this, it is obvious that I think when a Smash game is on the precipice of coming out, the whole world is waiting with bated breath. The gaming community comes together in endless optimism for the fun they're about to have with a game that celebrates the franchises that they love so much. The developers know that, the players know that, and when all of that comes together and everyone kind of feels like they're on the same page, something magical happens, and in this case, here in the waning days of 2018, that magic happens in the form of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and if you're anything like me, you wouldn't have it any other way.
Absolutely. I think that's a good way to leave off on it.
I think that sounds good. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in to TSSZ Plus here tonight in our exclusive coverage of the launch of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We'll be back with more of our expected content in the days and weeks to come. But until then, get excited, get out, get the game if you haven't already. Dig in, explore it for all it's worth, enjoy it, and we'll catch you back here real soon. Have a good night.
Good night and good luck.